Alright, hello everybody, my name is Tristan Volks, and today I am doing my 2025 CONCACAF Gold Cup predictions video. So, this video will be predicting how the groups go, as well as the knockout stage, and obviously, we'll decide a champion overall. So, for this year's Gold Cup, we have 16 nations, that's pretty usual. 15 are from CONCACAF. And you have one guest, which is from the AFC, and that is Saudi Arabia. And boy, they have definitely gave CONCACAF a lot of money. When I was at the Nations League final, they had ads everywhere. I thought I was in Saudi Arabia, I'm going to be honest. But no, I was just in LA. So anyways, coming up, the CONCACAF Gold Cup is kicked off by the defending champions Mexico in Group A, hosting the Dominican Republic in their debut. And that one will be at SoFi Stadium in LA. And then also, there are a total of 4 groups, and the top 2 in each group will advance to the quarterfinals. And then afterwards, you have a semifinal, and then the final, which is in Houston, Texas at NRG Stadium. And then reviewing what the groups look like, the groups based on the draw include Group A, Mexico, Costa Rica, Suriname, Dominican Republic. For Group B, Canada, Honduras, El Salvador, Curacao. Group C, Panama, Jamaica, Guatemala, Guadalupe. And Group D, USA, Haiti, Trinidad and Tobago. And lastly, the guest, Saudi Arabia. All matches will be held in the USA, minus Canada hosting one match in Vancouver, British Columbia coming up. Going into the group stage, I'll project each nation from 1 to 4 for each group, and I'll explain my thought process. Beginning with Group A, in first place, I will have Mexico. They are the defending champions as mentioned, and they're also coming off winning the CONCACAF Nations League. It's a very similar team that they're bringing in, and they got the manager to win another title in my opinion. You don't have to be necessarily dominant, but they're very good tactically to shut you down overall. So that's really the difference maker for Mexico. So I expect them to just do their thing, honestly. And honestly, during their friendlies that they played in, I thought they looked pretty good. No complaints at all. Next up, finishing in second place in Group A, I have Costa Rica. They do have a new manager in Miguel Herrera, who has coached Mexico in Club America notably. So they're looking to turn the page. They were starting to fall off, so here's their opportunity to show that they're still a good side, which I think they are. So Miguel Herrera will try to get the best out of this group. So that's really why I think they'll be able to get through this somewhat with ease, but this group isn't really a walk in the park if you tell me. So overall, I do think Costa Rica will be a Central American side that ends up moving on. And third, I have Suriname. They could finish second, but I like the experience that Costa Rica has right now. And with Suriname, you have a lot of Dutch players, if not majority. You have, I would say, few players that were born in Suriname, but they all have connections to Suriname at the end of the day. So I think they're also a improving side. We knew they were coming up maybe a while ago, as in 4 to 6 years ago. I feel that's a good timeline. So it's just a matter of just finding ways to bring in more players and continue to develop. I do believe they are a good side, but like I said, I'm giving Costa Rica the upper hand here just based on their CONCACAF experience. And rounding out Group A in fourth, I do have the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic, as mentioned, is making their debut. They are on the rise. They did not make it past FIFA World Cup qualifications, but they do have the Gold Cup. They do have a couple of really good players on the Dominican Republic, but obviously that will not be enough. But the good news is they are indeed on the rise, so this will be a good experience for them for sure. Moving on to Group B, in first place, I do have Canada. They are essentially bringing a full squad and even listing players that are playing in the Club World Cup, as in just Stefan Estacio. I'll have my preview video coming up soon, but they got the roster to just, I don't want to say smack everybody, but I would say maybe win in dominant fashion, even though they will not have Jesse Marsh for a bit of time. So we'll see if those play any impacts, but I'm not under the impression that that's going to happen that way. So overall, they should just be fine. I don't have really say anything. We'll wait for the preview video for more details on that. Moving on to second place, I have Honduras. Honestly, I would say Honduras has a good squad. They do have some firepower as well. They got players in the midfield. They're not as good as Canada, but they should be able to at least compete with them fairly well in Vancouver in the opening match. So I don't really have a lot to say about Honduras, but I'm just saying they do have a good side, and I would not be shocked if they end up qualifying for the World Cup coming up. So nothing too much on Honduras. And finishing in third place in Group B, I have El Salvador. El Salvador is definitely behind Honduras right now. El Salvador, however, isn't really a bad squad either. They're just not having their best moments right now, which it happens, I guess, as the CONCACAF region continues to see its changes and nations come up. And El Salvador has been one of those regions that has just gone a little down, in my opinion. So that's why I have them finishing in third place, but like I said, they're not a bad side at all, in my opinion. And finishing fourth in Group B, I do have Curacao. Curacao has looked fairly good in FIFA World Cup qualifiers. They'll have another shot to qualify for the World Cup coming up as they advance to the next round. They do have a good group of players, in my opinion. I just feel there's a lot of big gaps, in my opinion, which is the difference maker between El Salvador and Curacao right now. But I do believe Curacao can give El Salvador a run for their money. So right now, I just have Curacao finishing in last. All right, moving on to Group C. And first, we have Panama. They have the manager in Thomas Christensen, so he usually gets the best out of all those players. And they got solid players around in the midfield. They got good players all around, but like I said, Christensen ends up getting the best out of these players. They play really good tactically. They got a solid goalkeeper as well, in my opinion, so this shouldn't be a problem for them to finish in first, in my opinion. So I don't have too much to say about Panama, but you can argue they are the second or easily the third best nation in the CONCACAF Gold Cup right now. Finishing in second-ish, Jamaica. And we talked about how Panama is very good tactically. On the other hand, for Jamaica, that's just really not the case. They have a English manager, so he has a lot of connection with those players, but the thing that brings them down, I guarantee, is playing a lot of away matches and also playing in Jamaica in itself. Just don't feel they're playing on quality pitches, so we can't really get the best out of Jamaica, but we may see some good hints at what they can provide on some actual solid pitches throughout the U.S. So I'm not worried about Jamaica. I just brought up what the difference is between Panama and Jamaica. Jamaica does have better players, that is no doubt, but the difference maker is literally a matter of tactics. Finishing in third in Group C, I'm throwing a curveball, honestly, I really am. This one is Guadalupe. This is pretty much like their World Cup every 2 years. They treat this thing like it's pretty much everything to them because they're not an official FIFA nation. So they're also in a group with an opponent I will list shortly that they had some beef with, to say the least, 2 years ago. I remember it fairly well because Canada was in that group. It's very hostile, so I think they're going to be looking for some redemption coming here. Guadalupe does have some good players, in my opinion, that are better than most of the Guatemala players. And I'm just saying a few players, but that's me saying those would be the difference makers, which I just revealed who's in fourth, and that is Guatemala. In the last tournament, Guatemala ended up getting to the knockouts, but it wasn't without a lot of drama against Guadalupe, which sounds pretty weird to be honest, but that was the reality because Canada underperformed So we saw a very hostile match. So I think there's going to be some blood out there, and this may be one of the harshest matches we see in the group stage. So that's why I have Guatemala finishing 4th. For Guatemala, they're kind of at a standstill right now. We saw the development, but I feel right now they're kind of just at a standstill. Alright, now we're going to move on to Group D, and I would say this is where the real fun begins. Because believe it or not, in first place right now, based on what I've seen in the past window, I have Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia just came off a 2-1 loss against Australia, so they did not have a chance to qualify for the FIFA World Cup in that moment, so they'll move on to the next round. But honestly, I'm not worried about Saudi Arabia. I believe they're going to be a challenging side in the Gold Cup, and they have the potential for sure. Looks like they are bringing a full squad, so they do got good players, and they all play together so much because a lot of those nations over there in the Middle East are always just playing. Also, they do have the manager to probably take out all of these teams in their group, in my opinion. So that's really also a big factor as well. So they're going to be very good tactically as well. And honestly, I think they're just going to enjoy the moment. And they've also put a lot of money into this tournament, as we've already mentioned at the start of the video. Finishing 2nd in Group D, I have the USA, but I am very concerned for them right now. They have not won a single match this year. They've lost pretty much all of them, and it's not like they were going to win any of them either. It may have looked like that for a little bit against Turkey, but that's really the only light that we've seen from the US this year. And you know, I'm concerned, honestly, because sure, they're missing players, I can understand that, but I think it's just Christian Pulisic, he's sitting out, but they've also brought in a roster that I was wondering, hey, are these guys actually going to work? So far, the answer is no. But the thing is, I do want to say is, sure, the manager may be in the hot seat, but it seems like the new players he brings in, they're actually doing things, unlike the senior players that have been around for a while. Everyone's a senior player because you're on the roster. There's no A, B, C. I'm not going to get into all that, but that's really the only hope for the U.S. is that these new players will shine bright, but it's not looking like that at all, and it does not look like they're going to beat Saudi Arabia at all, let alone probably draw them. I'm concerned if they're going to have issues against the other two opponents. I'm not too sure. I think they'll struggle, but they'll find the way at least, and if you don't, you may not even get to the knockouts. So hopefully that's not an issue for them. I respect all opponents, but I'm just saying I would not like to see that. Finishing 3rd in Group D, I have Trinidad and Tobago. I feel Trinidad and Tobago has been better this year, and this is not to be non-biased, but Tyrese Spicer, who plays for Toronto FC, has been a very great player for Trinidad and Tobago, which I feel low-key has been their difference maker. They did just lose to Costa Rica most recently, but it's not like they got smacked around at all. I thought they looked really good, so I do believe Trinidad and Tobago can challenge the U.S. for that 2nd spot for sure. So we're just going to have to see what happens, but honestly, Trinidad and Tobago, they have nothing to lose. They're in a really good group, so it's going to give them a lot of really good experience. And in 4th, I have Haiti. Haiti's also not a bad side at all. I just feel that Trinidad and Tobago has improved. And then you got those other two nations right now, but this will also be some good experience for Haiti as well. But honestly, I feel that 2nd spot could just be up for grabs, possible, if the U.S. isn't on their A game, which I'm not expecting that to be the case, but they have enough players where they should finish 2nd overall. So that's going to be my group predictions. All right, now we're going to do the quarterfinals, semifinals, and we're going to do the final. I will provide you scores. I won't provide you locations because CONCACAF decides to decide these locations at the last minute now. don't like that. But anyways, so with that being said, this is what the bracket looks like. We have Saudi Arabia against Costa Rica. And in this one, I'm going to have Saudi Arabia winning this one 3-2. And then the next matchup, we'll have Canada and Jamaica. And for this one, I'm going to have Canada winning this one 2-0. And then, yeah, this is pretty awkward. A Mexico against a USA quarterfinal. And this one, I'm just not convinced with the USA as mentioned. So I have Mexico winning this one 3-0. And then the last matchup in the quarterfinals, I'm going to have Panama versus Honduras. And then I feel this one will be close, but Panama will end up winning this one 2-1. So that's our quarterfinals. Some interesting matchups. And moving on to the semifinals, we definitely got some cool, intriguing matchups. The first one between Saudi Arabia and Canada. And for this one, I think will also be close, but I'm going to go with Canada winning this one 2-1. And then we're going to have a nice little rematch between Mexico and Panama. They're kind of building a rivalry, low-key, if you think about it. But in this one, I'm also going to have Mexico winning this one. It will be a score of 2-1. I'm also putting extra time on this one. So this sets up a final between Mexico and Canada in Houston, Texas at NRG Stadium. And for this one, I'm going to be pulling with Mexico 1-0 here against Canada. Like I said, until somebody can show me that someone can take down Mexico, I'm not convinced right now. And I believe Mexico pretty much has Canada's number right now as it's looked in the past match, how they were tactically, and then that September friendly. They're not letting them score at all. They're making it very difficult for Canada to have chances to score on them. That will be my predictions for the CONCACAF Gold Cup. I hope y'all enjoy your summer watching that. I will not be paying attention much to the Club World Cup on the other hand, because I will be traveling to a lot of Gold Cup matches that Canada is playing in. So we got a lot of vlogs coming up, so stay tuned for that. And also a Canada men's national team preview. So all that's coming on the channel, so I'm excited to bring that to you in the coming weeks. So should be a good one. So other than that, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good one. Take care.